Marshall Turbeville, Battalion Chief in the Sonoma-Lake-Napa Unit. It's Monday, November 21st, 2022. We're on the Pepperwood Preserve in Sonoma County, and this is the Pitts Canyon VMP burn. Cal Fire organized in cooperation with the Pepperwood Preserve Foundation and the area adjacent fire departments, and also Northern Sonoma County Air Pollution Control District.
1482, we checked it. Blue Ridge, Division Sierra. We're bringing fire from 10 to 20 right now.
This is a location that burned both in the 2017 Tubbs fire and also the 2019 Kincaid fire. This property is owned by the Pepperwood Preserve. They've come in, as you can see behind me, and done what's called a lop and scatter treatment, where they've taken out the underbrush, some of it manzanita, some of it young Douglas fir that had been burned in the previous fire, limbed trees up, and laid that cut vegetation on the forest floor. And today, granted it's late in the season, it's November, we don't have the most driest or warmest days that we're burning now, but we're basically trying to now burn this vegetation that's on the surface of the forest. So previous area that burned, lop and scatter treatment, and now we're using broadcast burn. Ecological benefits here are to maintain this grass oak woodland, so the manzanita intrusion, the Douglas fir intrusion, to make this, and this would also make this more of a manageable area to stop or slow a fire. The road we're on right now, it's identified on the CAL FIRE pre-attack maps, and also I've used it as a spot where, or pre-identified where we're going to stop a fire at. So a fire coming east to west, before it gets into Chalk Hill, before it gets into Windsor or Santa Rosa, this would be a line that we can make a stand on. With intentionally igniting fire called a backfire, with air tanker drops or support from aerial aircraft, that we can hold the fire back from getting into more populated areas of Sonoma County.
Out of basically a flare gun. Yeah, it launches these, we call them sausages, but it's an aerial flame device, and it probably goes 50 to 100 yards. Takes a second before it ignites, and then it's for us to be able to get fire out to a far off, distance.
We're taking advantage of not burning in peak fire conditions. This is in November, in a fall burn, so the days are shorter, the sun's farther away from the earth, so we're not getting the heat, we're not getting the dry weather, where we see our large destructive fires, whether they be in Southern California under a Santa Ana wind condition or Northern California under a north wind condition. This area had burned under those worst case conditions in 2017 on the Tubbs fire, wind-driven fire, and also the 2019 Kincaid fire, another wind-driven fire. So way different. Almost on the other end of the scale burning. Both those fires burned high intensity, damaged some of the trees, and literally nothing a firefighter could do to stop them. You look behind me, you're seeing the firefighters work extremely hard to get this to burn today. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. This is very hard to burn when we're in the shade, shorter days, cooler weather, there's more water in the air, higher relative humidity. All those things make it safe for us to burn, but at the same time also make it difficult for us to burn.
Once this piece has good black, like 50 or more, then we're going to do this, where we're going to regroup, and we're basically going to work our way down this ridge.
Prescribed burn is a little bit different. If this was a 37-acre wildland fire in the middle of summer, we probably wouldn't staff it with 7 engines and a hand crew. Today we are. And today our goal is to get consumption versus put stuff out before it's consumed. All right, so in 2022, when you look at percentages, we've been able to do a lot more land management with prescribed burning, with vegetation management treatments than we've done or burned in a wildland fire. Our largest fire to date has been the mosquito fire, which was large, was destructive, but in Sonoma County, our largest fire, it was only a couple hundred acres, and we've, in Sonoma County alone now, after this prescribed burn, burned more acreage under a prescribed burn, under prescribed burn conditions than during a wildfire conditions. And that's been unheard of since going back to prior to 2017, when we've had our recent onset of large damaging wind-driven fires. So taking advantage of the weather this time of year to get more good fire, as a fire is an ecological process on the ground to burn. You see behind me the Douglas firs that have been lopped and scattered, the restoration of the black oak, oak savanna, oak woodland habitat. And so we've been able to take advantage of the weather to get more of the acres treated under a prescribed burn than in a wildfire.